Good morning to you, Olive, and quite a discussion you're having there about Parliament and what today is all about. And rightly, it is two key issues that are going to happen here at Parliament in both houses, and that is the election of the Speaker. Both coalitions, the key coalitions, have already fronted their people. That is Azimio One Kenya fronting Kenneth Marende for the Speaker of the National Assembly, and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka for the Speaker of the Senate, while the Kenya Kwanza team is fronting Moses Wetangula for the position of Speaker in the National Assembly, and Amason Jaffa Kingi for the position of Speaker in the Senate. And it is going to be a very interesting day. From morning, when we got here about 30 minutes ago, we have seen activity that is even leading to some vehicles, and these are vehicles, some of them from staff of Bunge and others from Waheshimiwa, who are even coming in as early, and this most of them being newcomers coming in, and the security here at the gate is something else. And Olive, I was here in the 12th Parliament, and you can even see there is a new gate, and even how things are being done at this particular point and at this particular time. Everything is being handled differently. There is a security that is making sure that anybody who's coming in has to have accreditation. Even these big cars that are coming in, either they belong to the members of Parliament or they do belong to the staff of Parliament. There is a briefing going on that other side that is involving the general service officers who are attached to Parliament, and they are mostly probably looking out and mapping the security status, knowing what is in store for them this whole day. We have even seen this the uniformed police officers, some of them from the traffic department, just making sure that these roads that lead to Parliament here are not there is not going to be too much traffic, or they are not going to have so many vehicles passing on, and if they do, everything is going to be smooth. So there is that order of business that is going to take place even as they get sworn in. Remember, there are 349 members of Parliament in the National Assembly, and there are 67 members of the Senate who are going to be sworn in, and this goes by this goes by what was gazetted yesterday by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, where there are 12 nominated members of Parliament in the National Assembly and 20 in the Senate. That is bringing the whole number to 416 who will be taking their oath of office. Now remember, the position of Speaker does not go by voting by the individual constituencies that you come from or by delegation in the Senate. Every member who has been sworn in is going to participate in the election of the Speaker, and that is the key point, where both coalitions yesterday even had parliamentary group meetings, and it was one quite interesting bit where President-elect William Ruto was of the view, or has fears, that there is a probability that even the Azimio One Kenya team that is led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, or outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta, they think that they might be using unorthodox means to even get members to come and vote for their preferred candidates, and that is Kenneth Marende in the National Assembly and Kalonzo Musyoka in the Senate. So there were those fears, and he was calling even on the members of Parliament to be extra vigilant today and not go down and get to financial advances that may come out. So there are those issues. But also, Olive, there is one interesting thing I want to show you. This is the building that will be used by the members of the 13th Parliament. It has been under construction for quite some time, but right now the building itself looks very new, looks ready and usable. For the better part of the last 5 years, that is between 2017 and 2022, this building or this area had been cordoned off using iron sheet. Now, this building will probably house all the members of Parliament, the 416, and each of them will have an office. There are some other offices that are within the parliamentary precincts, but those belong to the leadership of both houses of Parliament. So this building, what is also unique, Olive, even as we come, is that where we are standing, there is an underground tunnel that takes the members of Parliament from this side and takes them all the way to this new building so that they do not get into contact with the many people from the different constituencies they come from, and who come and actually kwa Kiswahili wanasema wanakita kambi, and they camp outside this parliamentary building just to see, that is my member of parliament, let me rush to them so that I can get up some monetary incentive. So there is a tunnel that has been built, and it goes all the way, and the moment they get from that tunnel, they get into their offices. So that is something that is interesting. Behind it, there is the other building that probably when they do not get, when all of them don't get space into this building, there is the Continental Building that has been in use for quite some time, and that is where also there are some offices. So when it comes to offices and the numbers that are there at this particular time, the 416 of them, they will be housed here in Parliament. So from this area, those are the two key issues that they'll be looking into. These members of Parliament have been elected for quite some time. Remember, today is the last day when Parliament should have been called, 30 days since they were elected, and today they take their oath of office. There is going to be a serious battle for the speakership, as members of Parliament are looking to see who can they sway. For them, Kalonzo Musyoka had been asked by the National Executive Council of the Wiper Party to drop any bid for any speaker position, as they had insisted it will be a humiliating defeat. But yesterday, the Azimio Council overturned that decision, and President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga calling on Kalonzo Musyoka to take up the speakership of the Senate. Whether they have the numbers to do it is something else that will be looked into. But remember, the release of the nominated list yesterday evening may tilt that particular assertion, as remember, the United Democratic Alliance, which is the largest party, individual party in both parliaments, may actually was given the mantle to nominate about 8 to 10 members of the Senate. So that may predominantly tilt the numbers in favor of their particular candidate if those people arrive here today and they are sworn in. So I don't even think politicians even slept because of those machinations and making sure that they know each and every one of their members where they are, so that they are not reached at and they are not convinced to vote either way. So it will be very interesting to see how everything goes. I don't know. This is a new member of parliament that I am seeing coming in. Let me see whether we can
kufanya kazi. Kiongozi mzuri ufanya kazi mapema.
Asante. Well, those are some of the comments that you are getting from the Baringo North member of parliament, who says kiongozi mzuri ni ule ambaye anafika mapema, and he is ready. Remember, the swearing in starts at 9 o'clock. So probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, in the next 45 minutes, we should be seeing quite a number of members of parliament who will be arriving as they wait for this specific role that starts at exactly 9 o'clock. The faster they do this activity of swearing in, the faster they get into the next order of business, and that is the election of their speaker in both houses of parliament. So we are keeping tabs and we're keeping an eye on everything that is happening here at parliament buildings, just to get you that first-hand experience of how the 13th parliament will look. Even, Olive, just before I forget, yesterday one of the marching orders that the members of parliament from UDA and from Kenya Kwanza got is that don't even come with your spouses today. There are fears that even, Mheshimiwa, how are you? Probably you could give us a minute to speak to him. How are you? And this is your second term, and you're here very early. How come?
Yeah, it is normal. You know, it has been a long time. We want to see how Mr. Ruto's colleagues are behaving. And, you know, we are the majority. So we are really ready for the work.
Thank you.
And I want also to congratulate my candidate, President Raila Odinga, as the other team I don't recognize. Thank you, sir.
Well, he is giving his own views, that are his own views, the Member of Parliament, even as we are being asked that we are causing a bit of traffic as they come in. But those are some of the sentiments that are coming in, and it just points out to something. How are you, Mheshimiwa? I know they will tell us that we are causing quite some traffic, but they are getting in quite thick and fast as they come in, and all of them have gotten one from Kenya Kwanza and the other one from Azimio, even as they prepare to see how everything will go, and promising quite an interesting day ahead, even as we wait to see how the day will go. What are some of the sentiments and what are some of the tactics that both coalitions will be using to make sure that they get the numbers here in the National Assembly and in the Senate? Olive.
All right, thank you for that update, Kennedy Mureithi. Na kapia unaweza kwa kiongozi mzuri, since you're also up early and they're working hard to bring
2027
to bring us up to speed on the activities there in Parliament. Kennedy tells us there's a new gate. The building that was under construction is done. That there will be a tunnel to avoid, for those MPs, to avoid those who kita kambi outside Parliament's precincts. And yeah, they're up early, clearly evidence that this is indeed a high-stakes battle for the seat of Speaker in both houses of Parliament. But just to take a look at what we can expect, these are the standing orders of the National Assembly. This is part 2, which speaks to the swearing in of members and election of Speaker, proceedings on assembly of a new house. On the first sitting of a new house pursuant to the President's notification under Article 126(2) of the Constitution, the clerk shall A. read the notification of the President as published in the Gazette, B. lay a list of the names of persons elected as members on the table of the House, and C. administer the oath or affirmation of the office provided for in the third schedule to the Constitution to all members present in the House in the order set out in paragraph 2, and then this is now said paragraph. The clerk shall administer the oath or affirmation of office to members in alphabetical order using the following order of precedence. 1. Members with the longest cumulative period of service in the Assembly. B. Members with the longest cumulative period of service in the National Assembly, East African Legislative Assembly, and the Senate. It continues here, members with the longest cumulative period of service in the Senate, all other members. Pursuant to the provisions of Article 74 of the Constitution, no person shall assume or perform any functions of the office of a member before taking and subscribing to the oath or affirmation of office provided for under paragraph 1. 4. When the clerk is administering the oath or affirmation of office to members and before the clerk has administered the oath or affirmation to office to the Speaker, any question arising in the House shall be determined by the clerk, who shall during that period exercise the powers of the Speaker. And Duncan Haemba told us that history is being made. We have the first woman presiding over these proceedings. Her name is Sarah Kioko. At any other time, the oath or affirmation of office shall be administered by the Speaker immediately after prayers. 6. When a member first attends to take his or her seat after the first sitting of the House, the member shall, before taking his or her seat, be escorted to the table by 2 members and be presented by them to the Speaker, who shall then administer to the member the oath or affirmation of office. Now, taking a look at moving into the office of Speaker, notwithstanding Standing Order 30 hours of meeting, on the day when the election of the Speaker is to be conducted after a general election, the sitting of the House shall commence at 9 a.m. We saw that in the Gazette notice. And vacancy in the office of Speaker. A Speaker shall be elected when the House first meets after a general election and before the House proceeds with the dispatch of any other business except the administration of oath or affirmation of office to members present. If the office of Speaker falls vacant at any time before the expiry of the term of Parliament, no business shall be transacted by the House until the election of a new Speaker. The Deputy Speaker shall preside over the election under paragraph 2, but if the Deputy Speaker is a candidate, a member elected by the House in accordance with Article 106 of the Constitution, nomination of candidates upon the President notifying the place and date for the first sitting of a new Assembly pursuant to Article 126(2) of the the Constitution, the clerk shall by notice in the Gazette notify the fact and invite interested parties to submit their nomination papers for election to the office of Speaker. So that phase of things has passed, and now we're at this phase of things where they come to elect their Speaker, and the clerk shall at least 2 hours before the meeting of the Assembly prepare ballot papers upon which shall be shown the names of all the candidates validly nominated. Now, the election of the Speaker shall be by secret ballot. The clerk shall, at the commencement of each ballot, cause the ballot box empty and unlocked to be displayed to the House, and shall in the presence of the House lock the box, which shall thereafter be kept in the full view of the House until the conclusion of the ballot. This feels like the general elections all over again, doesn't it? The clerk shall issue not more than one ballot paper to each member who comes to the table to obtain it, and each member who wishes to vote shall proceed to a booth or designated area provided by the clerk for that purpose and located next to and within reasonable distance of the ballot box, and shall, while they mark the ballot paper by placing a mark in the space opposite the name of the candidate for whom the member wishes to vote, fold the marked ballot paper before leaving the booth or area and place the folded ballot paper in the ballot box. A member who before the conclusion of a ballot has marked a paper in error may, by returning it to the clerk, obtain another in its place, and the clerk shall immediately cancel and destroy the paper so returned, and on it goes. So basically, like I said, this feels like what we went through when we went to vote in our elected representatives. So we need to take a break, but when we come back, I'm curious what my panelists make of these two gentlemen. Previously, I can see here William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta on the other side. President Uhuru Kenyatta was active in marshalling support for their candidates for the office of Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Previously, when we've seen the previous presidents who've retired, Mwai Kibaki, Moi, they retired. But where Uhuru Kenyatta is concerned, we were told he's still young. So do we expect him to continue playing that active role as we've seen him where this particular election of Speaker is concerned? We take a look at that and what the numbers mean, because we had the handshake in 2018. How did that impact House business? And given these numbers, how are things shaping up to be? Is this good, or will it lead to deadlocks? We take a break. We'll be back with more.